When he took his top off and I saw his chest, I was thinking, Jesus.
I just thought he's going to get yellow cards, isn't he? That's what I thought.
Mohamed Salah, after many years of being the top scoring player in FPL, will not continue his reign at the top of the tree.
It's definitely time for his breakout season at age 34. Getting in over the World Cup winning Hugo Lloris. Welcome everyone, this is the All In FPL show. As ever, I am joined by a man here with me who's about as dodgy as a Qatari VAR room. It is the one, the only Alex Doyle. How are you, Doyle?
Hi, John. I'm good.
Excellent. As you may notice, we are also a man down. Josh is currently travelling abroad. Unknown whereabouts at this time. He's in the air somewhere. But
rumour has it he's going to Qatar, right? That's
Possibly. So, I mean, would you give him 2 days and then he'll be arrested at most? Or should we start the line at 1.5 or...
Yeah, word on the street, he got carried away by the England performance the other night and hopped on the first plane possible. You know, money man and all. He doesn't care. He didn't care that it cost him $2,000 to take the flight.
Exactly. He did this in the Euros, didn't he? All of a sudden, he got tickets for the final somehow. Like they was going for $1,000, and then suddenly, next minute, Josh has got 4 of them.
That's the money man way. That's the money man way.
That's how he rolls.
He'll be missed. But let's talk about the football, shall we? How are you enjoying the World Cup?
Yeah, it's good. It does take a bit of getting used to, I think, because it's this time of year, and it doesn't. Normally, you're starved of the Premier League for a month or two before the World Cup kicks off. It has the big build up, and I think it was a bit slow getting started.
Yeah.
But I think there's been some giant killings in there, and like the games are getting a little bit tasty now. So now that knockout stages are coming, yeah, it's good. I still don't think it's as good as like a normal summer World Cup, but I am enjoying it.
Yeah, I think it's something to take into account for future international tournaments as well. Is that like the first week, everyone was really cagey and tight coming out the door. No one wants to lose the first game, and then second week, it's the second game week of games or whatever. Teams open up because they realize they need to win. The games suddenly open up, and we suddenly see loads of goals, and it's been really. Yeah. I missed 10 a.m. games already though.
I know. It's quite fun when there's a game at 10 o'clock.
I know.
I like waking up. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm thinking, crap, I need to sort my team out. Team news is out at 9 a.m. in the morning. It's
so good. And then it's all downhill after the last 16. Suddenly games start getting paced out and everything, and it's the best time. These are the best times now.
So your tip is in 4 years' time. So remember this for 4 years, maybe even 2 years if you want to apply it to the Euros. Defenders in the first round, clean sheets, and then more expansive football. Forget about the clean sheets, and then
look for teams that have lost the first week. Target those fixtures. Off you go.
Yeah, all right. Everyone will remember that in 4 years. Right. Yeah. So what we got? What we're going to talk through today, then, Doyle? What's the plan for the show?
Yeah, I think we'll just briefly chat a bit about what teams have impressed us so far, who we've liked the looks of, before moving into the next round of fixtures, the last 16. Important to note that we are recording this before the last 2 sets of group stages. So before the Portugal, Uruguay, Ghana and South Korea group play, as well as before the Brazil, Cameroon, Serbia and Switzerland group play. Well, I was impressed myself for that memory then. But so those games haven't happened yet, but we can sort of project it quite easily actually who's going to at least top both of those groups, with Brazil and Portugal both on 6 points so far. So, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, should we recap briefly then the groups and then who's qualified and who we fancy?
Yeah, let's go for it. Do you want to go Group A? We got Netherlands and Senegal. What do you think of the Netherlands? Because obviously they were a big sort of favourite going in, but have sort of, in my opinion, flattered to deceive a little bit. What do you think? Yeah,
I think you're right. I think they had quite an easy group as well, so I think that's why a lot was expected of them. Obviously, Qatar is a bit of a stroll in the park for most teams, and then with Senegal and Ecuador, they're not too bad, but they haven't exactly. It's not like a Spain and Germany group where there's another team that's going to really trouble them. I think they've been okay. I think attacking wise, they've been all right with Gakpo. He's been a bit of a coming into the tournament. I don't think he was on everyone's list to get in straight away, but he's done very well. We haven't seen much from Dumfries really, have we?
No, he's not
After
really.
the Euros, and
He looked okay against Qatar. Actually, he had a few opportunities there.
Yeah, premium price defender though, and flattered to deceive just a little bit. So yeah, not they're worth watching. I think still Netherlands, but
I think they missed a pie in the first 2 games as well. He's obviously getting back to fitness, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, definitely not as electric as I was expecting from them coming into the World Cup. So Senegal.
Yeah, I think they're a tidy outfit. Probably the best African team in the tournament. And yeah, I think they're okay. Actually, I think they could trouble England, to be honest. Depending on how they play, I think they've got some good players. Obviously, fancy wise, Sar's off the mark as well now. He got his penalty last game, and he's a very dangerous player. I know he's you could say he's championship player material, but he's way above that in my opinion. Yeah, I think they're okay, and I think they could be as underdogs in the next round if there was going to be a giant killing. I fancy England to win, but I would almost tip them as if there is going to be a shock, that could be it, unfortunately for us.
I don't see it personally. I mean, they've looked okay, but the group was so bad. Like say, even Netherlands have look really, really bad in that game. So I'm not concerned from an England perspective.
You're on the bandwagon. It's coming home for you, though, yeah.
Yeah, we're too good for everyone. Look at the team. The squad's just too good, isn't it? Look at the forward players. It's just
it is. But I don't know. Just if we play like we did against the US when we're flat, that's what I'd worry about. I could see maybe just grinding out a 1-0 win against Senegal. That's all.
Yeah, how much do you think that was tactical choice? And well, I guess we might do it again is the problem, right? But
yeah, I mean, we knew we could get a draw, and it's going to be a good result for us. So I don't think they was going out all guns blazing. I mean, we might as well talk about England now anyway, because sort of on to Group B where we topped it.
I was going for the natural transition there, JB, but
yeah.
It's okay.
That was brilliantly done. It was just two completely different games to the US game, weren't it? It was absolutely on fire. I'd say second half of Wales. First half, we was a little bit quiet against Wales.
Yeah, it was a really boring first half, actually.
Yeah, it was almost, similar to the first and second games, really, where first game was fantastic, second game we were so flat.
Yeah.
The Wales game so flat first half, and then electric again second half. So we just need to find a little bit more consistency. But I think us English fans, we expect way too much all the time. And if you look at the tournament as a whole, you've got to say England probably one of the best teams so far on it, even though there was some calls for Southgate's head after the second game. You know what we're like. But I'd say very impressive England, and definitely got fancy options.
Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, what would you be looking at? Because obviously it's quite difficult to know who we're going to play, particularly in the attacking positions. I think the back four is quite settled, right? Pickford, Maguire, Stones, Shaw, and Trippier seems pretty likely. Maybe Kyle Walker, but I don't see that. I think he'll go back to Trippier. Then it'll probably be Bellingham and Wright in the middle. And then it all becomes a bit murky.
Yeah, a lot of players have come in and done well, haven't they? Especially the last one in the two attacking positions, either side of Kane with Rashford and Foden.
Yeah.
They kind of earned a starting spot, really, didn't they? But at the same time, as much as I'd want him to start, Saka did score 2 goals in the first game, and he's looked good as well. It's easy to forget how good he was in the first game just because of that second game. And he can be, Saka, who works so hard for the team. Whereas, if you have someone like Rashford, perhaps, maybe not as a complete player as Saka. So I think it's a very tricky one. I think if it's me, I'd start Saka still. But at the same time, you couldn't argue if he started and kept the momentum going with Rashford and Foden. So fancy-wise, I'd leave that if that was me. The only one I'd look at is Kane.
Yeah, I mean, and Southgate in general seems to have his favourites. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see Saka and Sterling start again, either side. I think personally, like you had start Saka, I think I'd start Foden on the other side. Or potentially in the hole, which that's never going to happen. But Mason Mount, unfortunately, your boy JB has been pretty dreadful for England recently.
Well, people say that, if you watch him closely, he's been really good.
I'm not sure even you believe that one.
He did do some good stuff in the second game, I'm telling you, because everyone was slagging him off, and every time he got on the ball, I was watching him like a hawk. And he didn't do too bad, but it's just people expect goals and assists from him. That's the problem, and he doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always gonna be tough when you got the quality of attacking options that we do. If you're not performing top, yeah. And Mount, he's never put in a sort of top level performance like he does for Chelsea, for England, really, as far as I can remember, at least.
No, I agree with that.
But yeah, I think Mason Mount is probably likely to start unless he goes for Henderson in the middle.
Yeah, I can't see him. I think he'll go back to Mount, I think, over Henderson, personally, just because he does love Mount.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Mount for England, but compared to Henderson, Jesus, I'd take him all day.
Yeah, I think he's the likely player to come back into the team and start in that role. I personally think I'd drop Sterling if that was me, just because he's been a bit off it this all season.
Yeah. So.
And yeah, the other guys, I just think you want players going in there who are confident. They're playing well, And Sterling, there is some question marks over him, and the other three, they're all interchangeable. Like Rashford had his favourite side, I guess, but even in that game, Foden and Rashford swapped over at halftime the sides, so I think they're all interchangeable really. So it's two out of the three for me from Foden, Rashford, and Saka. But fancy wise, I wouldn't want to guess. I'd save a transfer and just look elsewhere.
Yeah. But Harry Kane, what odds would you have gotten for us to score 9 goals in the group and Harry Kane get 0?
I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I think he just got 2 assists, I think, off the top of my head.
Assists in the first game. I don't think he got anything in the second game.
Oh, no, I think he got one in the last one. So I think he got three assists, which is, he's good for the assists. But yeah, I think he's fine. We've seen the sample size of him for 4 years with England and in the Premier League, for instance, and you can just say, look, last 3-4 years he's been unbelievable. We know he's, I wouldn't look elsewhere if you still fancy England and Kane to do well. Wouldn't surprise me if he banged in a couple at the weekend.
Games, etc.
Sorry?
For the price tag in fantasy games, etc., would you still be looking at him?
I'm not, just because I think there is so many other good options. But if you want to, it's all much of a muchness when you compare players like Messi, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, Kane, with that premium price tag. Any of them could do well at the weekend. I think it's less about them sort of players. It's more about getting the bargains in this game and spending your money elsewhere. Because whatever premiums you pick is going to be fairly equal to some of the others. Especially, if England are playing Senegal, it's a good fixture for England as well. So why not?
Yeah, agreed. And then the USA, who are playing Netherlands. What are you made of the USA so far?
Not a huge amount, to be honest. I think I wouldn't say they was lucky to get through. They probably deserved to get through, but Wales completely underperformed. Iran showed in the first game against us they're not really up to much.
Yeah.
I think by default, really, the USA got through. They're not a bad team.
Yeah, they're well defensively.
Yeah, and I think they're okay. They obviously performed well against us, but
yeah, no Pulisic though, potentially.
Yeah, if he's not playing, obviously he's their key man. He's their spark. So that will certainly affect them. But they've got half of Fulham's defence playing for them. So they're not exactly great shakes. I wouldn't expect them to get much further.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked though to see them beat the Netherlands.
Yeah, they could keep it tight. They certainly could keep it tight. Fancy wise, I don't think I'd really look at them too much. No, I did have Pulisic last round, who done well. He obviously scored, but other than that, it's not. You're not going to be picking too many of their players.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. Yeah.
You're doing pretty well in the official game, aren't you? Actually.
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad at all. But I've made some
so far very much.
I've made some rookie errors, unfortunately. It's absolutely haunting me. Otherwise, I'd probably be in the top like 100 easily.
Yeah, not doing subs and stuff, right?
Well, I tried to do a sub, but with the wild card, I had taken out Saka, who had played for me, so he had 2 points, and I'd brought in another player for him for game week 3, and I had Bruno on the bench. I went to bring in Bruno for Saka, and I realised because I'd already took out Saka
You
for a
could.
future transfer, I couldn't get Bruno off the bench, and there was no other way to get Bruno in my team. And Bruno scored twice, and they get like 15 points for a goal in midfield. So I left 14 points on the bench, which really hurt because I was, like you said, I'm doing really well in it.
Yeah, that's pretty grim. That's pretty grim.
Yes. And I did yesterday as well, 7:01, realised I had Alba and he weren't playing. Even I knew Alba weren't playing. There's so many fancy games going on. I completely forgot. I could have used a transfer to get him out. But I probably would have brought in a fullback for him. So don't think it would have made much difference. So that was okay. But still, every time I look at my team, I just imagine, right, where's 14 points more than this? That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah, I just don't understand how the game works. I can't figure it out, and I've kind of clocked out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, it's just too complicated for me. I got so confused the other day when it was after the wild card, and I did transfers thinking I was still on wild card for next game week when I wasn't. And it's just a nightmare. And like you say, all the subs and the
Because we
capture.
only had a short period of time, didn't we, to use the wild card to get in new players.
And that's the problem, was I got confused then after doing that for game week 2. I got confused for game week 3, thinking I had to do my wildcard changes in that period, but that was after the game week had ended, so it wasn't the wildcard period. So it's just
Yeah, it's a nightmare. But I think everyone's in the same boat. Nobody really knows how it's working. So
it's a bit of fun.
yeah, it is a bit of fun, I think. And I don't think the winner of this game, unless it's me, I will change my tune. But I don't think you're going to say, okay, this is like some fancy expert has won this game. It's pretty much going to be somebody who knows the rules inside out, finger on the pulse the whole time. Who's going to win this?
Should we move on to Group C?
Let's do it. Argentina, Poland.
Yeah.
What do you make of the RGs then?
They've been pretty impressive to me. Like they're defensively, particularly, they've been so tight. Like they've not given up much at all, any chances or anything like that. They've got the best XGA in the league, in the not in the league, in the World Cup actually. I think so far. And going forward, they're pretty dangerous as well. To be fair, I didn't watch the game against Poland, but it seems like that was just a barrage. So yeah, I think they're a pretty impressive team, to be honest with you. And I think they'll go pretty far in it. What about you?
Yeah, similar. I think they only conceded the 2 goals against the Saudis, which was a freak result, really, weren't it? Even in that game, the first half, they could have been 4-0 up. They had 3 offsides. They scored once. Yeah, I think it was just one of those games, the way it went. I think the last 2 games, they've proven how good they are.
And obviously Australia in the next round, who are one of the worst teams in the competition.
Indeed. And just one thing to note, in the next round, you can actually select 4 players from a team now. So instead of 3, it's now gone up to 4. So I think 4 Argentina players will be very popular because that's probably, betting wise, Argentina are the heavy favourites to go through to the next round.
Yeah.
So not only is it a good fixture, but it's also a chance to get 4 players. I mean, they're pretty nailed on to get into the quarterfinals for you. So the quadruple up on Argentina's probably on.
Yeah. Well, in terms of expected goals against, Australia are the 2nd worst in the World Cup. The worst are the team we're going to talk about next, Poland, and have been a source of misery for me for the past week and a half or whatever. Mainly due to fan team, where everyone has these triple Poland defenses that just keep hitting, despite the fact that they are an abysmal team, and that it's been winding me up to no end. And Josh has had the brunt of my frustrations with it, to be honest with you. It's just penalty saves and God knows what else, and it's just
That's the worst, when you need a clean to go and then you get a penalty and then they save it.
And I was saying all before the tournament, everyone was going, "Oh, Poland defense is so cheap," and I was like, "It's not. They're just crap. They're just really bad." And then obviously they just come out with 2 miracle cleans. Well, to be fair, the Mexico clean was okay, but the second one was a miracle clean because the penalty save and Saudi Arabia missing 15 chances.
Yeah,
And
they
then
actually look quite good.
third game as well. It's just,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think Poland haven't impressed me at all. The games I've seen them play, they haven't looked good at all. I mean, Saudi Arabia, look like I was counter-attacking against Saudi Arabia. And really, if you're going to go far in the World Cup, you need to be on the front foot against teams like that, and they couldn't even do that. I don't fancy him to get any further in the tournament. Matt Cash has obviously been a cheap defender, so he's only 4 million in the game, I think. So he's been a good pick up to now, but I don't think I'd be looking to get on board with any more Poland players. And obviously they got France next game as well now, and France, one of the World Cup favourites now, is still well clear for me.
you don't back another penalty save then.
No, he's going for the hat trick now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Chesney. I wouldn't have thought so. No.
Miraculous, could be miraculous. Well then, let's move on. I guess straight into the France team because obviously that's who they're playing in the next round. And
God, the segue has been brilliant, hasn't it? Look.
yeah, I realised that when I said we'll do the groups and then we'll go on to the last 16, we might as well just all do it all in one really because it just
Yeah.
we're going team by team anyway. But
maybe we'll touch on the individual matches afterwards.
yeah, we'll do some predictions for the next round, shall we?
Yeah, who to stock up on for the players if you want to keep them long term.
Yeah. So France have been pretty impressive, I think. I don't know about you, but I think they possibly look better without Benzema just because it just gives them the focal point of Mbappe. And Dembele on the other side has been really good as well. And yeah, I think they look a really strong contender, best team in terms of XG in the World Cup so far. So they look pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it weren't for the rotation last night, they probably would have been the only team to win all their games so far.
Yeah,
they look really good. Mbappe's on fire. People said, this could be. There's always a couple of stars to emerge, and you always remember a World Cup for certain players, and this may well be his World Cup. Looks really good.
Mbappe emerging star. You heard it here first.
The
little known Mbappe comes into the World Cup and lights up.
I just mean as in the World Cup, as in players get remembered, tournaments are remembered for certain individuals, and this might be, if France go all the way, it'd be pretty much thanks to him, I reckon. But yeah, no, they look really good. Poland in the next game, Poland, France on the. If you're looking in, you might think, oh yeah, it could be a bit of a tough game, but based on the football pitch, from what we've seen, I think it should be a bit of a walkover for France. And again, like we said with Argentina, I'd be piling into France, maybe even have 4 of them for the next round.
Yeah,
because I think they could go far.
It's a tough for you pick, I guess, right? Is Dembele a forward or a midfielder on the game? Do you know?
I can check for you, but I did when you mentioned Dembele, he's someone I've been quite impressed with as well. I haven't really seen him play a huge amount. He is a forward, but he is only 8 million, so it's a very budget friendly price.
Tough, isn't it? 'Cause obviously got Giroud, Mbappe, and Dembele all forwards in the game. But yeah, a good team to target anyway. Defensively as well, I think they're a good team. Poland haven't looked much going forward, so
yeah, definitely.
We'll be looking at 3 or 4 of them on Wildcard for sure.
Aussie.
Aussie. Love to see them get through. Love to see the Aussies get through. To be fair, did you see all the stuff with the fans?
Yeah, it's good to see it.
Oh, it's fantastic. Fantasy wise, I don't think there's anything there, unfortunately. Playing against the RGs, I think it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for them, I think. But well done to them for getting this far. That's
yeah, pack your bags, you're off. Yeah, exactly the same. I think they've done well to get there, but unless you want a super cheap player for next to nothing to allow you to spend more money on premiums and just have someone rotting on the bench, basically, I don't think you're going to be looking at their players.
Just recapping briefly, just on the RGs, up front, they started with Martinez in the first 2 games and then switched to Alvarez the last game. Are you interested in either of those two for the?
I am, yeah. I was thinking this earlier that obviously Martinez did start, but then they switched to Alvarez, and since Alvarez has come in, I don't think he's done much wrong. I don't think they're
Yeah.
probably gonna swap anything in this game. So I think they'll probably stick. If I was betting, I'd
Yeah.
say Alvarez is the man to target, and he'll
Yeah.
probably start. And one thing to remember as well, you do get lots more transfers still. So you get, even though you get unlimited transfers, as soon as the game week starts, you get 4 more transfers. So when you see team sheets, you have an hour or so, maybe a little bit more in this. If you want to use a transfer, you can use it on a player who's not starting and transfer him out for someone else. So in theory, if you did have Alvarez and suddenly Martinez is in the team, you can transfer him out before it starts. And I think that's certainly a move I'll be doing. I think because they're quite cheap as well. Alvarez will probably be in for me. If he don't start tomorrow, I'll just use one of my transfers to get him out.
Yeah, that sounds a clever way of doing it. Sounds clever. Yeah, the Argentina defense for me as well is obviously a great pick. On to Group E, which is
Japan, Spain.
the fun group. I missed all the games yesterday because I was at some work drinks, which I was a bit annoyed about because it seemed like a couple of crackers.
Oh, at one point when Costa Rica, one more goal for Costa Rica, and it would have been Japan and Costa Rica going through. I couldn't believe it. The odds on that would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, and Germany, the team with the best XG in the entire tournament, get knocked out.
Yeah. Auf Wiedersehen, eh?
Yeah, love to see that. Love to see that. But the teams that did get through, well, topping the group, Japan, right?
Yeah, did not see that coming. I mean, Spain and Germany, you thought it would have been a cakewalk for them, this group. And Japan have topped the group, not even come second. So, yeah, well done for them. They have a funny sort of way of playing. It's like very much counter-attacky, sort of taking loads of hits, and then all of a sudden they come alive and on the counter and suddenly turn into a team of superstars for a period in the game. I wouldn't look at their team fancy-wise too much. I know there's one player in particular who's really let us down, who we was all quite keen on, mainly because of you. And then once I dug a little deeper, I started really liking him as well, Kamada.
Yeah.
And he's been a bit of a disappointment. He has been involved, but he hasn't done anything so far, has he? What have you made of him?
No. Yeah, the first 2 games I watched and he didn't really contribute too much, to be honest with you. I didn't know what number he was on the pitch for most of it. Didn't watch the game last night. Saw a goal go in. Saw their second goal going. I think it was by Tanaka. And I was sort of looking through like the window of like a bar on the street, and I saw like it's it was AKA. I was like, Kamada? That looks like Kamada. No,
Almost the right length.
exactly. That's exactly what I was going for. But no, he's been a letdown, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
they look good going forward, don't they?
Yeah, they
look
do. Yeah.
on the counter.
And they haven't got the hardest game in the next round either. They're playing Croatia, who we'll probably come on to in a sec after Spain. But the way they've played, I mean, it wouldn't be the biggest upset in the world if they overcome Croatia, even though Croatia do look pretty good. So they have got a chance. And I mean, if anyone did want to stick with one of their strikers or Kamada, just as a bench player, because you're going to get more free transfers. Pardon?
ITO, he keeps catching my eye.
Yeah, if you want to gamble on one.
I don't know where he plays, I don't know what he does, but whenever I watch them, he seems to be getting in advanced position.
Involved. Yeah.
I don't know if he's a midfielder or a defender or what, so no idea.
Or even if he started the last few games, might come on as a sub. Who knows?
No, he did start.
Okay.
I don't know where he plays or what he does.
Okay, we'll have to do some more research on him. The new Kamada, yeah.
Yeah, he's the next one. He'll be in my wild card. Spoilers.
How about Spain then? What have we made?
Spain, yeah. Kind of classic. Like I think I said it after the first round of games. They did this in the Euros last time, where they came out of the blocks and absolutely spanked a team, and then it sort of went a bit off the boil all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Which we kind of saw in the last 2 games against Spain, with them drawing against Germany and then losing against Japan. And I mean, the first two games, to be fair, the one I was most impressed with was probably Morata off the bench.
Yeah.
When he came on, he just looked great both times. But I didn't see, like I said, I didn't see the game last night, so I wasn't sure. I'm not sure how he looked in that. But yeah, I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them as a team.
Yeah, the same. They rotate quite heavily as well. Even the starting lineup, once it gets to 60 minutes, it's almost as if anyone's vulnerable and anyone
That's
can
the
come
problem
off.
with the positions, yeah.
It really puts me off picking any of their players just because you never know who's going to start. They can easily swap players or start other players. Morata did look all right last night. He scored again, obviously, so he's banging in the goals. I'd assume. I mean, he scored so many goals now that he's probably going to maybe start the next game. But again, like we've been saying, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't. But I'd have my money on him starting. But again, those around him, probably Ferran Torres will come back into the team. But they've got Sarabia, Olmo, loads of different players who can play in them sort of positions.
Yeah.
They're all interchangeable as well. So they're probably in a void for me, to be honest.
Quality. It's kind of similar to the England sort of front line, isn't it? A lot of players that are similar quality, and you don't really know who's going to get the nod, which is annoying from a fantasy perspective. Particularly considering they've got a pretty good game against the next team we're going to talk about, which is Morocco.
Yep.
Morocco.
Well, these are my dark horses, if you remember. I've tipped up Morocco to do really well. I've had a bet on them to win it. I've had a bet on them to get to the semi-final.
Really?
I had a bet on them to win the group and just to qualify. So I'm already in the money, thankfully, due to Morocco. So I will take that.
I piled them on fan team as well, so they've took me up the ranks in fan team. With their triple defenses there as well. So yeah,
beauty. Yeah, I think they've got some really good players. Obviously Ziyech as well, Chelsea boy.
Yeah, he's looked really good, hasn't he? He's just sort of driven the team forward. Whenever I've watched him, he's been the sort of star. He's just been doing everything. And
yeah, I think he's almost in shop window as well in his head. So that's probably another reason he wants to get paid with a big contract. But yeah, no, I think they look good. I think looking at the odds as well, this is very lopsided to Spain, almost 1-2 on, and you can get about 6-1 on Morocco.
Wow, I mean that's a good bet, right?
I think so. I mean Spain are obviously the favourites, but I think it should be a lot closer than that. I'd have Morocco maybe 3-1 to win the game instead of 6-1.
I think the betting odds have been exceptionally not wrong, but kind of pro-European in a way.
Highly skewed towards the European.
The sort of more traditional nations have been hyped up a lot, more than potentially it should be. Like Denmark v Australia the other day was one, where Australia I think was 6-1, 7-1, or something like that.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, I think it's Saudi Arabia v Mexico. Well, that's not an European team, but even Saudi Arabia was sort of backed heavily against, which maybe ended up losing, to be fair. But I just find the odds quite weird so far this World Cup.
I agree. I agree with that. That's kind of a little bit why I said at the beginning about England Senegal. I think it could be a bit closer than what people think. Senegal like 7-8-1 to win the game. I'm not saying Senegal will win the game, but rather than 7-8-1, I'd be looking at more about 4-5-1.
Yeah, I do agree on that. I don't think they will win the game. I think, but
I just think if it's played 4 or 5 times, say it's played 5 times, that should be 4-1 if Senegal are going to win it once.
Yeah, and I don't think Morocco are 5-1 for sure. I think that's
they're 6.5-1 at the moment if you wanted to back them.
There you go.
So that is all the teams then. Who do we think's going to win all the games? Should we? Sorry.
Don't leave out Croatia. For Croatia.
Oh, Croatia, of course. Yeah, they play in Japan. Go on. What do you think of Croatia?
Not a lot, to be honest. Let's move on.
I think they've done okay actually. The first game was a little bit slow, but since then I think they're a team that's grown into the tournament more than anyone. I think Modric, magician, Perisic looked really good. A couple of assists in the last game, and obviously we haven't seen the third game yet.
We have seen the third
game.
No,
we have seen the third game. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I was thinking that. But yeah, no, I think they look pretty decent. They could have some bargains. And obviously, they got a really cheap defender as well. So is it So?
Yeah,
3.5 million. I think he's
playing Japan as well. Yeah,
he's going to be in everyone's team playing Japan.
Yeah, Japan look good going forward though, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Japan score. I wouldn't be surprised to see Japan win. I have them down as winning. I don't know what the odds are for that one actually.
Japan are 3-1.
Rain Man JB over here, king of king of gambling. He's
Well,
got all
I do have Betfair open as well on the
the odds
side.
going down in his going around in his head. 3-1.
Yeah, Croatia are evens, so
Yeah.
50-50 bet, and then you got Japan 3-1.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And let's be honest, it's a good fixture for Brazil, who they're going to be facing in. Whoever wins that will be facing Brazil in the quarterfinal. Most
Yeah, I
likely.
think Brazil have been pretty solid, really, haven't they? You can't really pick many faults with them.
Very good.
They
Very good.
left it late in the first game or whatever, but Richarlison's looking really good. Not sure who's going to start tonight because they're obviously through.
Yeah.
So you might see some rotation tonight, which might help them because once they get into the last 16, if their players have had a rest, I think probably Jesus is nailed on to start tonight up front, and then probably won't start the last 16 unless he scores 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah. Something like Jesus, Anthony, and Martinelli, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'd think that, and then maybe the others might get a little 10, 15 minutes at the end just for a bit of continuity, but they don't need to risk anything, and they look very good. They look very good. They're going to have a fairly easy game in the next round, so another team to probably triple up on, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think they look great defensively, but they're expensive. They're actually not expensive on this game, are they?
I think the defense is quite expensive.
I think Sandro's really cheap, right? And he tends to start.
Yeah. Up front, Richarlison is very cheap. So I reckon if you need to save money, he's going to be in a lot of teams. I think he's like 8.5, 7.5, which is an absolute steal for the centre forward for Brazil.
Yeah, we've not had anything on Neymar yet, have we? News.
No, not that I heard of. He was definitely out the group
Said he
stages,
can't-
obviously.
It seems dodgy to me. I'd be surprised if you saw him in the last 16.
I mean, we saw pictures of the ankle, and that did not look good, did it? It didn't look like it was a week or two recovery. So, even if he does, he's not going to start the game if he's fit suddenly. He's going to be on the bench and he's going to come on and be introduced for the last 15, 20 minutes of whatever game he comes back in. So until that actually happens, keep Richarlison, I'd say, up front.
Like you say, are quite lucky in a sense that they've got potentially 2 really good fixtures now. They're going to play one of likely Uruguay, Ghana, or who's the last team in that group?
Serbia?
Serbia? No, that's their group. No, that's Brazil's group.
Uh,
Uruguay, Ghana, and
South Korea.
South Korea. There you go. So yeah, I can see a world which they don't bring him back until the semi-finals, given it could be a run of Ghana and Croatia, for instance, or Ghana and Japan. So
in the other group, then, have you seen much of Uruguay, Serbia, or Switzerland? It's still up in the air who's going to actually go through there. Actually, no, that's not even the group, is it? One sec.
No, it's Brazil's group, Serbia,
Switzerland, Serbia, and Cameroon.
Yeah,
in Brazil's group. Out of them 3 teams, is there anyone that's caught your eye? We won't go on all the teams, but
yeah. I mean,
any could go through. And obviously, I think Serbia and Switzerland tonight, if a team wins that, it's winner takes all. So I can't imagine Cameroon are going to beat Brazil.
No, yeah, I could see. I like Mitrovic from Serbia. If they get through, he's looked really good. I hope they get through. I like Serbia for some reason.
Yeah, I think they're slight dark horses as well. They got some really good players.
Exactly.
Milinkovic, Savic, is that how you say it? And Vlahovic as well. Mitrovic keeping him out of the team. The other game. Yeah. So yeah, I could. They probably have got a few bargains in that team, but it looks like they'll probably be playing Portugal. So tricky fixture, but not unwinnable, I don't think.
Yeah. We'll touch on them last. Then Portugal. Won both games so far. Probably, well, they performed better than I expected. What do you think?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a cakewalk for them so far. And yeah, I've been quietly impressed with them, actually. I didn't really fancy them too much, but Bruno's been fantastic. I don't know whether, obviously, he's ever since Ronaldo went to United, he's been in his shadow, and he just looks like he don't take the games by the scruff of the neck. I don't know whether all this, because of what's happened with Ronaldo at Man United, suddenly there's beef between everyone. And now for Portugal, suddenly Bruno's kind of got this different mentality where he's thinking, right, I'm going to lead this team, and he's sort of central to everything they're doing. I know Ronaldo's got a couple of goals or whatever, but
I mean,
been very impressed with Bruno.
yeah, it's a really good squad as well, isn't it? The Portugal squad, when you take it on paper, to be fair, you've got obviously Dias, Cancelo,
Yeah,
Bruno, all these sort of players. So they could be quite good. They should have a favourable last 16 matchup against Serbia, Switzerland, or Cameroon. So yeah, I think the one to look at for sure, particularly defensively. They've always been solid defensively and shown it again so far in the World Cup. So
yeah. I think they're almost too good a team to call dark horses.
yeah,
But then you don't, when you start thinking about the pre-tournament favourites, nobody included them.
no,
So they're sort of like in this little section, this little bubble by themselves. But like you just said, they've got good players like João Felix, Bernardo Silva. These are all quality players. Bruno, Ronaldo. Yeah, I think they're better than everyone expected. So a couple of players from Portugal won't go amiss, I don't think. I think Bruno will probably go in for me, and then maybe I'll look at Cancelo as well. But it's just the price tag with Cancelo that's the issue, I think.
yeah, true. Uruguay have been such letdowns for me.
Yeah, 1 point so far.
I mean, Suarez just looks so bad.
Yeah, he didn't even play the last game, did he? He was on the bench.
Just so fat. All of a sudden, he can't run. Slow and fat. It's weird seeing like that. But yeah, they've got some good players. So I'm kind of surprised. I mean, they've got Valverde, they've got Benson Kerr, they've still got a decent back line, even though they're aging, but still a good back line. So I've been surprised by how poor they are, and I don't think they'll get through today, to be honest with you.
They've got speaking of odds again, this seems very lopsided to me. Ghana against Uruguay tonight. Uruguay odds on to win, and then Ghana are 4-1.
Not bad, is it? It's not bad.
I mean, Ghana have obviously got some firepower. They scored a few goals now. That could be another shock for me. That well, we wouldn't even call it a shock, to be honest, but according to the odds, it would be a shock. But is there any other players from Ghana, South Korea, or Uruguay that would catch your eye? I mean, obviously, the issue would be you'd be playing Brazil. So
yeah, you're playing Brazil. It's pretty difficult to predict at this stage who's going to get through out of those. So, if I was going to, I'd take Ghana to go through.
yeah, I'd like to see Ghana get through. Fairly flamboyant team.
Yeah. The payback for what year was it? Was it 2012?
Yeah, around about then. Yeah, with Suarez off the line with a handball.
Yeah, payback time.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting game that tonight.
Looking forward to it. Anything else we want to touch on before we end?
Just looking at the fixtures then.
Yeah.
For the next round, obviously we fairly confident we can just say Brazil and Portugal were in our minds to be playing. Yeah. What will you target for the next round? So if you're looking at, is there any certain players or teams then that you think you want to get 4 players in for or 3 players in for a certain team? Because obviously, are you going to gamble and just hope that you're so confident that a team's going to get through that they've got good assets that you want to keep? And
yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to go for. I definitely want to make sure I got 4 Brazil because that fixture run is just so good. The difficulty obviously is predicting the starting 11, but I think some players are more safe than others. Particularly, I think I'll go Alisson, for instance. I'm pretty sure I'll have him at the back, as well as another defender. Just looking as well at the positions. That's the problem because it's just so difficult, isn't it, in the forward areas because there's so many good forwards on the game. There's no midfielders, which makes it quite tough. But I think
midfield is very tricky.
3 Brazil, if not 4, for sure.
Yeah, I think I think Brazil is a little bit tough because their defense is so expensive. I think everyone's going to have Richarlison. I think, like you said, in goal, you could maybe go with a premium like Alisson for your Brazil cover because everyone else is also, I'd assume, everyone's going to have Noppert for Netherlands because he's so cheap. He's only 4.5 million, and Netherlands obviously playing the USA. It should be a good fixture for them.
Yeah.
So I think Noppert will be in goal, and then that'll allow you to be able to splash the cash elsewhere. And if you're looking at any of the other teams as well, they're all quite expensive anyway. So maybe Alisson is a Brazil player that you can keep and may get all the way to the final.
I think you mentioned Richarlison, but Vinicius as well is definitely on my radar. I think he's looked electric. I think since Neymar, particularly since he went off, I think
Yeah,
Vinicius
that's what I was
has
going to say.
taken it upon himself to sort of become the main man in the team. I think he's really shining like that, and I think he's due a big game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think elsewhere as well, if you're looking for another surefire thing, Argentina. I think with Australia in the next round, everyone would be a fool not to get Messi. I know he missed the penalty and stuff, but he still looks like, to me, the best player in the world still. He's still got it. And Alvarez is very cheap up front. The only issue is you would be doubling up on the Argentina attack when there is, like you said, there's so many good attacking players.
Yeah.
Are you going to go budget and then
The
maybe get
defense
Alvarez
looks
and Richarlison because
the
they're so
defense
cheap?
looks really good. Like Otamendi's only 5 million, Molina 5.5, Acuna 4.5. They all seem fantastic picks to me.
Yeah, likewise. And then obviously France with Poland.
I might just quadruple that defense. Actually, that sounds fun. I'll leave out Messi. I'll just quadruple the defense.
Well, if you want to win the all-in FPL league, you might need to do something like that because you are a little bit behind. You can take some risks.
Yeah, I know. The problem is I've got these Brazil defenders in, and I don't think any of them are going to play. So if they keep it clean, that I won't be too far behind. I don't think. So I'm miles behind at the moment, but I think that'll drag me back into the conversation at least.
Yeah, it could be slightly tricky.
Yeah, I'd need them all to play and clean. Then I'd be, if they all clean, I'd be on 168, which is about 30 points behind you still. So I'd still need some work to be done. But
Cool. Anything else you want to touch on? We've still got our power captains left. Any particular time you'd want to use it so you get the whoever scored the most points in your team that game week, you get.
probably.
You have still got that one, haven't you, Nate? The one you
Yeah,
pressed.
I do. No, I don't. No, I don't.
You did use that one.
Yeah, I've got
So what?
I've got the 12 player thing.
Okay. So potentially you could use that this round.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Can you use that on a team you've already quadrupled?
That's a very good question. This is probably not in the rules, so it's going to be a complete potluck if you do try to use it.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, yeah.
I'd imagine you can. I think you probably can.
If it is, that might be a Lionel Messi spot for me. So there you go.
Yeah. And like you said, actually, if you was going to use that with so many attacking options and there's some cheap players in attack as well, I'd probably use it now because you can get the extra attacker in, like because we said already, Alvarez, Richarlison, Messi, Mbappe, Kane.
Yeah.
That's probably a really powerful chip to use. I'd definitely be doing that if I was you for this round and use it on one of them.
Yeah, I think that's what I will do. That's what I'll do. And you've got the power cap left then, yeah.
I've got power captain, yeah. I think we'll still get 2 captain picks, obviously, every round. So, because there's going to be still really good fixtures, I'd be confident that I can hit a good captain. So, if I chose Messi against Australia or Mbappe against Poland, for instance, I'd be confident one of them will score well. So, I'm more inclined to use the power captain maybe for the semis or the final.
Yeah, when you don't know as much, and it's just you hope to get that defender that scores or something.
Yeah, because I mean, you're only going to have one captain. Well, actually, you probably will get 2 captain picks because in the final, it actually counts with the 3rd place playoff as well. So there will be more chances to hit points. So I think I'll probably save it until then.
Sounds like a good strategy. Well, I think we said we'd do half an hour, and as is tradition in all in FPL, we've gone for about 50 minutes. So
yeah, so it's our shortest ever one, but we're still half an hour over.
Yeah, we're getting better though. We're getting better.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. We just needed to get rid of Josh for a third of the time. That's all.
Yeah, it's almost been like Josh with you anyway, because you've turned the lights out in his honour, yeah? It's always very dark where you are.
Exactly. I wanted to feel like he's there, you know.
Yeah. In Josh's memory.
Yes. And good night.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you probably the next round.
Next round. Bye.